Our universe is governed by a principle. It's called entropy, which means that things tend to move from order to chaos. I couldn't help but wonder if the state of our world and our lives today is a testimony to that. The economy is crashing, the climate is collapsing, people are divided, and technology controls us all. It almost feels like every aspect of our lives is getting more and more chaotic. Is it only our perception, or is humanity really at the verge of collapsing? From hard statistical facts to subjective feelings, this is making sense of the world amidst chaos. In 2018, author Hans Rosling, along with his son and daughter-in-law, wrote a book called Factfulness. They argued that the world we live in is actually much better than we think it is. Based on statistical facts, our world is much safer, richer, and healthier than before. And they're not wrong. According to data, the world is in fact a much better place than it used to be. For example, in the last 20 years, extreme poverty has fallen down 50%. Life expectancy across the world today is around 70 years, much higher than it used to be. These are all positive trends. It's easier to get caught up in the negativity and forget how much progress we have made. In fact, a survey showed that when asked, people always perceived the happiness of the people around them to be less than it actually was. We tend to be pessimistic. I have to admit, going into this topic, I had a much more grim view of the world. A lot of that changed while doing the research for this video. The majority of the trends I had assumed to be negative turned out to be actually positive. We are living in a world that is happier and more satisfied in general. At least that's what the data suggests. Yet something feels off, and I can't shake off the feeling that lately so many people appear to be disconnected, depressed, and lost. This is not merely about seeing the world through the lens of positivity. There must be something more than those graphs or surveys are telling us. The world might be a better place than before, but are people in a better place? How come a song complaining about the hardships of a common man in the richest country in the world has resonated with so many people? Or why does pretty much every story we hear today include some sort of catastrophe or conflict? The reason is twofold. Number one, we are simply more aware of everything that's wrong with the world than before. There have been catastrophes since the beginning of humanity. However, it's just that they never made it into our stream of consciousness like they do now. Never before in our lives have we consumed hundreds of news stories per day from every corner of the globe. As bad as it might sound, ignorance was bliss in this case. An average person 100 years ago had less information to process, and more importantly, more local information to process. People were more focused on what was happening around them, rather than taking the weight of everything that's wrong in the world on their shoulders. Unfortunately, we are more intrigued by the negative news than by positive news. So we rarely come across what's positive in the world. I've done a detailed video on the rise of negativity in news media. If you're interested, I will drop the link in the description. But the point is that even though the world is safer and healthier, you're not very likely to come across those statistics on a daily basis, because such information simply doesn't sell. Just the awareness of everything wrong keeps us in this constant feeling of fear and despair. The second part of the truth is that the world is in fact getting more chaotic. The fact that statistics show an increase in things like happiness and satisfaction is just one measure and can't be taken as a complete picture of the whole world. Such surveys take a long time to conduct. In fact, most of the data that I came across dated back to 2014. Things have changed since then. New ideologies have become more mainstream, which leads to stronger division in people. Climate change is visible in our physical reality, leading to stronger opinions and counter-opinions on the topic. There have been major global conflicts, and of course, we have been staying home way too much all of a sudden. So yes, this has taken a toll on our mental health, and all of these changes are fairly recent. In contrast to older times, the pace at which things change has accelerated. Technology allows information to spread faster. More importantly, more information is consumed in less time. So naturally, we see the world as a more chaotic place. Maybe one day in the future, a historian would look at our time and make sense of what really happened. We would be a statistic one day. But for now, we have to live our reality. While we might not be able to fully make sense of the chaos, we can do our part to reduce it. The world is increasingly becoming noisy, and we feel this hidden pressure to solve everything all at once. But the reality is that when we try to make sense of everything, we end up making sense of nothing. So we gain comfort in standing behind causes that we don't always fully understand. When you have so many causes and groups to associate with, naturally, you won't have time to listen to the other side. And in the process, we end up adding to the chaos by creating and sharing more and more bits of open-ended information. We can only do our part to reduce the noise by holding back our opinions on things that we don't fully understand. But instead, create stronger opinions only after being more factful. We have to reduce the chaos in our heads before we can reduce it in the world around us. This is not a matter of being right or wrong. It's a matter of taking a step back and gaining clarity on the situation. Maybe in the process of doing so, we can slow down a bit and get in touch with the reality once again. If you like this video, then please do consider subscribing. Till next time.